Now, it's well known what religions do to people. It tries to dumb them down. It discourages questions. It even calls them blasphemy. It says, don't ask questions, just have faith. Your question is showing a lack of trust. Be obedient, do as you're told. That's it. Judaism, which is not really a religion, I don't want to get into that now. By some definitions it is, but it's definitely not your typical religion, given that it's the first religion, is the exact opposite of this. We are well known for encouraging questions. In fact, the brightest, most respected individuals in the yeshivas are the ones that ask the best questions. However, some people who are religious would say this is not always the case. Some questions you don't get answers to. Some questions you're even discouraged from asking. And there are some notable actual exceptions, like, for example, the tree of knowledge. We weren't supposed to eat it. Does that mean Hashem doesn't always value us pursuing truth and getting to know the truth and being worthy of finding out the truth? So in this video, I want to discuss what it is we are allowed to know, what are the exceptions to that, and also try and break some misconceptions in this area. Some of the questions that are not answered in some places are answered in other places. And I am of the opinion that everybody is welcome to know everything, even the things that you may think we're not supposed to know, like Kabbalah, mysticism, things like that. Now, there's always conditions. Nothing is ever truly black and white. And we have to be responsible, and I'm going to get into that in this video as well. So as I said, we don't have a blind faith ethic like other religions. There are some things we're forced to take on faith, but only because those things are not knowable for various reasons. Not because we reserve them only for the elite or are trying to hide something or whatever. Is it true that Judaism values truth and knowledge? Absolutely. If something is knowable, we are all expected to do our best, responsibly, to know it, to whatever degree we are capable, as will be clarified below. This indeed gives us a well-earned reputation for encouraging intellectual pursuit and asking questions and not taking things on blind faith. Here are some examples of things that every Jew is invited and in fact obligated to know. 1. The entire Tanakh with all commentaries. 2. The entire oral law. 3. All problems, such as embarrassing things our ancestors did and the discipline they received, mistakes our greatest heroes made, mitzvot that themselves are very embarrassing by modern standards, such as the Ben Sorah or Moreh, the Eshet Yafet Torah. 4. Everybody who puts in the effort and shows the talent and sensitivity is also welcome to learn even the secret parts of the Torah, the Kabbalah, Ma'aseh Bereshit, Ma'aseh Merkavah, etc. 5. The reasons for the mitzvot, meaning of life, purpose of creation, philosophy, theology, and all that. We're all welcome to know all of these things and question them as much as we like. Now, here are some examples of things that are not knowable. 1. The essence and being of God, what it's like to be Him. 2. Things that came before reason itself, before knowledge itself, which itself is a creation. For example, the ultimate truth of Hashem's desire for us and mitzvot. That's just something we have to admit we can't know, and we must take that on faith. 3. We can know everything about what He wants, but how do we expect the Torah to prove that He really wants it and means what He says? We have to believe and trust Him on that. 4. There are some topics that are considered very, very lofty and beyond our understanding, or things that maybe might get in the way of our mission, such as the ultimate purpose and goodness of suffering. If we knew the goodness and purpose of suffering, we wouldn't protest it anymore. Nobody wants a good reason for the Holocaust, because that would make them happy about the Holocaust, and that is definitely wrong. Nonetheless, even all of these things are things that we are welcome to explore to the best of our ability, to climb the ladder as high as it will take us. And there are many Torah works dedicated to all of these things. This shows that it's, again, not a blind faith thing. But see also what I'm going to get to below when I talk about if it's always going to be this way and what the future holds. Now, another question. Are there some things that we shouldn't know? Yes with an if and no with a but. Basically, there are some specific examples of things we shouldn't know. But generally, again, the reasons for this are not in the category of blind faith that one might presume. Here are some examples, and then I'll discuss a specific example that I said at the beginning. Some reasons why some knowledge is off limits. 1. Some people, let's face it, don't have the brain for the subject, and that's that. Therefore, they really should be kept away, otherwise they make some big mistakes. 2. Some things are best left out of the public consciousness because they are private and personal. So it's a trait of modesty that we don't pry. For example, like Chazal say, what came before the world was created. And in the Kabbalah, some secrets of Hashem. 3. Some items of knowledge are simply too powerful to be given to anyone but the most responsible people, like how to use Hashem's names. That side of the Kabbalah. 4. Some things are kept as hints because people need to be ready to hear them. For example, we need to be mature, or we need to be sensitive, and that takes time, it takes cultivation. Similar to the fact that sometimes it's good to say I love you, and sometimes it's better to just hint at it and invite the imagination until somebody's ready to hear those words. When a child finds out just how much their parents really love them, that can be quite scary. So it's best to wait until they're a bit more older and mature. And by doing this, we protect that knowledge and we prevent it from being profaned. And 5, some things Hashem prefers us not to know out of Rahmanis, out of compassion for us. And that brings us to the example of the tree of knowledge. There are, of course, many, many reasons why Hashem didn't want us to eat and find out the knowledge of good and evil. But here are a few that back up my point. 1, as I said above, Hashem didn't want us to know out of Rahmanis for us, his outer will, i.e., it's too difficult for us. Finding out about good and evil invites a tremendous amount of suffering, and he didn't want that for us out of his outer will. He loves us, he cares about us, and it would hurt him that we should eat from that fruit. But deep down, he's proud of us. His inner will is that we should have risen to the challenge out of our own consent. And we did, and as the Hasidut tells us, he was very proud of us for that. It's his inner will that we rise to that challenge. Another reason, number 2, is that many hold that he was actually going to give us that knowledge, just at the right time, in the right way. For example, on Shabbat or after Shabbat. The commandment not to eat was only temporary. 3, some hold that the knowledge gained by the fruit would actually hinder our ability to know, rather than increase it. So it was in the interest of preserving our knowledge that he told us not to eat it. And finally, 4, some hold that the knowledge was just too powerful and therefore it wasn't meant for us. This generally seems to be the simple meaning. The danger outweighed the otherwise true principle that Hashem values all having truth and knowledge. Will it always be this way? Well, the general answer is no. We are beings of knowledge, composed ultimately of the very fabric of speech itself, holy letters, and our soul has the capacity to know everything that there is to know, and even come to know that which is beyond knowledge itself, because we are created beyond knowledge too. We have a part of us that is connected to Hashem himself. Some people merit to get very far down this path in this life with a unique combination of having a lofty soul and having put in hard work. The rest of us are going to have to wait for the ultimate future. The Hasidut teaches that Alam Haba, the world to come, is when Hashem himself, his essence, which is as beyond knowledge as one can get, is going to be revealed in our faculty of Bina, our left brain, the part of our brain that makes knowledge concrete, down to earth, as it were, in a way that is knowing without knowing or something like that, which is a very famous point by the Rebbe Rashab. Some might already get roughly what this means, and some people might think that it's just nonsense. And that just goes to show that each is to their own station, and is all part of the plan. However, this does all ultimately demonstrate the starting point. Things aren't black and white, but generally speaking, Judaism does greatly value truth and knowledge and the pursuit thereof, and even the notable exceptions are either not really exceptions, or they are for specific reasons that do not undermine the point. Shkoyach.